Okay, welcome back. Jan Morgan filling in for Paul Harrell. And I am so excited about our next guest. Charlene Simon is the reigning Mrs. Arkansas. Now, notice it's not, I didn't say Miss, I said Mrs. That means that you're married.
I'm married.
There actually is a Mrs. Arkansas. And she just returned literally yesterday from Las Vegas.
Last night.
From last night, yes. From competing in the Mrs. America pageant where she came in top 15.
Yep.
That's amazing. That's, you talk about how many contestants, 50 something contestants.
50, we had 52. So we have all 50 states, District of Columbia. And then the organization brings in the runner-up to every single state pageant that has the most votes.
Right.
So
okay.
we had 52 women there total.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Well, I can tell you, and if you ever get a chance, you might want to go to Charlene Simon, SIMON, CHARLENE. Look at her Facebook page. The pictures are just gorgeous. Wow. So first of all, what inspired you to get involved and participate in a Mrs. Arkansas pageant?
I know, it's so crazy. It's so opposite of what I do on a daily basis.
Because you're a businesswoman.
I'm a businesswoman.
She's much more than a pretty face. This lady is an amazing entrepreneur. How many businesses do you own?
I stopped counting it, I think like six.
Six in Arkansas, right. Are all of them in Hot Springs? Or?
So we have, many of them are in Hot Springs. We have, I think, 4. And they started here, but we have, they've now kind of migrated throughout the country. So our main business is a Bath and Body Company, and it's in multiple states throughout the US.
And yes, and her family also owns the famous Fat Bottom Girl cupcakes in Hot Springs, Arkansas. And oh my goodness, I tell everybody who comes to my facility who is from out of town or out of state, I say, you got to go to downtown Hot Springs and go to Fat Bottom Girl cupcakes because they're amazing. But okay, so back to you. What inspired you to get into Miss Arkansas pageant?
So I've always just been intrigued by pageantry, I never really understood it. So, and it's because it's the complete opposite of what I do. I had several friends that do it. And then our director has been a friend of mine for years. And I've always supported other queens. I've, given them contestant gifts or donated to the organization.
Sponsored them.
It's just something personally, intrinsically that I've just been drawn to, and I don't know what it was. So 2 years ago, I competed and I loved it. I love competition, obviously being a business owner. And to me, it's a weird kind of sport. And I know that's a weird way to say it, but I just love the competition with yourself, the competition with, it's like your golf swing. You can always get it better and better.
Right.
So competing in a pageant, we have women that do this multiple times, and it can be for yourself, but the effects that it has on the community is like a ripple effect over and over again. And I think that's what I love about it. So you can have this competition with yourself, you can have this sisterhood with other pageant girls, and then your community involvement. I mean, this title has allowed me to get in front of so many places I might not have ever been able to talk to.
Yeah. So you didn't win the first year, but you won. How did it feel when you were actually crowned Mrs. Arkansas?
Goodness. It was like a dream come true because you're competing, and you want this. It doesn't define you whether you win or lose. I said that. And the only reason I competed the second time was because I missed the sisterhood of it. I missed my friends that were doing it, and I was watching them, and I really just enjoyed. I don't want to use the word sport of it, but it is a sport. It is something that, it builds your confidence. I was 250 pounds most of my life. A lot of people don't know that about me. I don't really spread that around.
I cannot even imagine. Yeah. I can't even see that.
Yep.
How you could,
So I was. And so to me, I think that was a little bit of like proving to myself that it's okay to be who I am.
So now all the women watching want to know, so how did you lose that weight?
I mean, I just really had to get my diet under control. I love to work out now. I love making it important to me that was not that it was bad. I look at it now and I was like, I wasn't this terrible person just because I was overweight. I wasn't happy with being overweight.
And now I saw your swimsuit pictures at Mrs. America. You looked awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I would say I would not define myself as pageant perfect because, there is kind of a look that a lot of the pageants still go for, but I was proud of myself, and I don't look at those. 10 years ago, I would have looked at those pictures and tore myself apart.
Right.
And now I look at it and I'm like, look at you go. Look how far you come. I'm proud of the cellulite. I'm proud of the, little saggy arms.
So you go to Las Vegas and you were there for what, 2 weeks?
I was there for 12 days.
12 days.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about the competition. What are the categories you had to compete in? Did you have to go through interview?
Yes. So your categories you compete in is interview. That's 50% of your score. So you have to be able
because you have to be an ambassador for your state and for the country.
For the country, exactly. And so you do interview. That's 50% of your score. And then you do swimsuit. That's 25%. Evening gown is 25%. And the evening gown also encompasses an onstage question. So you may be great in interview and you're fine on stage in a swimsuit and you're fine in your evening gown, but that onstage question is really what trips the most.
You don't get to know the questions in advance.
You don't get to know it in advance.
They can ask you anything.
They can ask you anything. So you're standing up there and, thankfully they're a little easier than like Miss America asks. They get political. They kind of get polarizing. But our pageant,
y'all stay away from politics completely.
We stay away from politics and religion.
Was that girl that was dethroned? Was she part of that system, the Mrs. America, or was that a different pageant system?
I think it wasn't Mrs. It would have been like one of the scholarship pageants, probably like that.
Okay.
So they'll ask something easy like, why do you feel you're qualified to be Mrs. America? And that seems like a pretty benign question until you're up there in front of 1,000 people and you're like, wait a minute, am I adequate enough to be Mrs. America? I don't know. So
you could say, well, how long do you have?
Right. Exactly.
How much time do you have? Because I can talk all day about why I should be Mrs. America.
Well, and that's the funny thing. You sort of need to answer it succinctly and quickly because they're looking to see if you can speak on stage. The context of it is somewhat important, but it's mostly important that you're able to, just kind of flow with it. So,
okay. Yeah. All right. So what was the most frightening part of the whole competition for you?
Nothing.
I
went in prepared. I went in wanting to just enjoy the experience. Winning was my focus. Of course I went there to win, but I wanted to enjoy the experience once in a lifetime. I'm never going to be able to do it again. Right. I just wanted to soak in what it was and what it could be for me. And that's exactly what I did. And your ego can kind of really get involved when you're competing in a beauty competition. And
you have to have a certain level of confidence.
You do. You do. I just really kept my ego at bay. I said, enjoy this experience, enjoy the people. The people are incredible. I mean, these ladies are accomplished where they're sharing this ambition. It's kind of cool to get kind of like the gun club, it's like, the gun cave, it's you come together and you share this ambition, and there's something about bringing all these people together for the same cause that is just it's just huge. It lights you up, and that's what this is about for me. And I just love the women that were there and the owners of the pageant and my director.
So what do you take from all this, Charlene? What the whole experience from the Mrs. Arkansas pageant and the Mrs. America pageant, what are you going to walk away with from all that experience?
I'm walking away knowing that I have this fierce femininity that I'm not going to ever hide again like I have in the past, and that it's okay for women to step out and do something that scares the holy heck out of them.
Right.
And, I just did that not very, very long ago with becoming a gun owner.
Yes.
With you and you teaching me.
Yes, she signed up for my pistol class. She and her husband showed up one day and they walked up to the counter and she was going to sign up for the class. And I was like, I know her from somewhere. I said, I know you from somewhere. And she said, I'm Mrs. Arkansas. And I said, wow, how cool is that? And you want to learn to shoot a gun? You want to learn? She's an amazing shot, by the way, folks, just so you know, she is an amazing shot. She's fearless. She's fearless. But yeah, it was a pleasure having you and your husband in class, both of you.
So. We had a blast.
Good. Literally.
We literally had a blast. We did, yes.
and came back afterward and shot some more. And so now it's kind of empowering to know now that you can defend yourself if somebody comes and tries to take your life.
Sure. So, what kind of prompted it wasn't necessarily interest in the subject. Not that I just didn't think about guns. I was like, I'm not against guns or for guns. I wasn't. And I was just like, oh, people can have guns and I cannot have a gun. It doesn't matter. Right. But we were robbed twice in 1 month. And that kind of instilled
robbed at gunpoint?
No, just like our home. And our personal property.
Wow.
And so to me, I was like, I don't want to be unprotected. I felt so vulnerable.
Yes.
And so, having getting armed and more importantly, learning how being educated on the gun, like going out willy-nilly buying a gun and having it in your pocket is one thing, but to come here and to be educated on use it. It was very empowering to me.
So now, when does your reign end?
So we crown the next Mrs. Arkansas November 9th of this year.
So you got a few months.
I have 2 more months left to be Mrs. Arkansas.
Mm-hmm. So you get to keep the crown, though, right? You don't have to give it up.
I pretty much sewed this to my scalp when I first got it. So,
okay.
I pretty much had it sewed to my scalp. So yeah, I get to keep this, and my sash, which is very worn and dirty, and we've had a lot of appearances.
I was just thinking it looks amazing considering all the competition
you
you've
should
been
have
through.
thought it new, but it's pretty worn.
Yeah. So if a woman's out there watching this and saying, that sounds like a lot of fun, and I could stand to gain a little confidence, you would recommend?
I would completely recommend, especially if it's out of your wheelhouse.
What is the age range?
So as long as you're over 18, and that's it. You can be 90.
But that's so hard if you're an older chick, like in your 40s or 50s, and you got a 20
outcome. There's never. You always think you have the person picked out, and that's what I love about pageantry. You're like, oh, that's the winner,
right?
And they're hardly ever the one that makes the top 6 or top 3 or the one that's crowned. It's crazy. You just never know. You just need to go there, be yourself. But I highly recommend pageantry for somebody that just it's not in your wheelhouse.
I judged pageants for years. I was in the Miss Texas pageant way back when I was 18 years old. Was in the Miss Texas pageant, and so for years I actually judged pageants. And I can tell you that as a judge, I chose my winner in interview.
An interview, it's true.
The judges, you fall in love with a candidate in interview, and you learn when you meet that person and you find out who the core of that person is. Yep. That's what it doesn't matter what they wear or how they model. It's like, this is in the bag. So, okay. Welcome back from the break. For those of you joining us from the radio land, we are also broadcasting live on Facebook nationally and internationally. And we are with Charlene Simon, the reigning Mrs. Arkansas, just returned from the Mrs. America pageant where she made the top 15 finalists. So that is so awesome. And we're really proud of you. Now, Charlene, as a business owner, I want to talk about that briefly because you do have a number of multiple businesses, successful businesses. Is it harder, you think, for a woman to become a business owner and be successful in the small business realm than it is for men today?
I know that's something that kind of as a talk. I have never ever let that get in my way. I've never let that stigma of women earning less or women not able to do, define what I'm capable of.
Right.
I have a real my husband and I have been married since I was 15 and he was 17.
Okay.
And he is always, you can do this. He has never said you can't, don't do this, don't stop this.
Right.
And so I don't know, I've never noticed it, but I've never allowed it to enter my path. I've just plowed through kind of whatever. And I think that's part of it. If you let it kind of get in your way.
So you believe in facing your fears.
Oh, for sure.
To conquer them
rather
than letting fear stop you. Because I know
I wouldn't have this on my head.
Yeah, there you go. A lot of women out there, a lot of men. You're stepping out into owning your own business. It's a scary thing. It's a scary venture.
It's scary, and the failure rate is very high. And as successful as we've been, there's been several times that I've looked my husband in the eye and said, I cannot go on another minute. And then I wake up the next day, I'm like, who am I kidding? I love this.
I love this.
I love that.
The thing that people need to know about you, and one of the things that impressed me is once you signed up for my pistol class, I went to your Facebook page. I'm looking to see who is this woman, and I saw the articles written about you as an entrepreneur. Not Mrs. Arkansas, but a businesswoman, a successful small businesswoman, and there were pictures of you on the floor actually mixing your products. That to sell the waxes or whatever to sell in your store. And I was like, she doesn't hire somebody to do all the work. She's down there in the floor getting her hands dirty. And that's what being a business owner is, especially if you're a small business.
Yeah. We have about 100 employees throughout the U.S. and we do our warehouse. Our manufacturing facility is in Hot Springs, which is so cool. And we have about 12 people that make stuff. But like I'm leaving here and changing into my warehouse clothes and my hairnet. And
I'm leaving here and changing into my gun range clothes. I'm strap on a pistol and my jeans and my boots. And so.
But I still like to be in. I love hard work. I love labor. I love sweat. And so even though we're buzzing and they're making sure things are getting out there, I love to go in and still make and just to to feel what it feels like to be in the hum of the business part.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, I tell you what, I am so excited that you are here with us. And Charlene, best of luck. I'm going to be sad when you give up your crown. Congratulations on your win.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And so let us know now if people are out there watching this and they say, well, we want her to come speak to our civic group or our ladies organization or whatever. How can they get in touch with you to book you?
They can book me. So my director handles all of my bookings. So you can go to mrsarkansas.org.
.org. Okay.
Yeah, O-R-G. So you go to mrsarkansas.org and you can, there's a spot on there where you can get in touch with my director and see when and what is available. And I hardly ever say no to a booking. So.
Okay, good deal. Well, congratulations. I look forward to seeing you back out here at the range with your gun practicing too.
Yes, I will be here.
All right, thank you, Charlene.
Thank you.
Okay.